Maya, do not get on that bus. Hotel security is inside the coffee shop asking for you. Jasmine Price's voice came through the phone so quickly that Maya Collins stopped beneath the glowing bus shelter before she understood the words. Hotel security? Maya asked. From which hotel? I do not know. 2 security officers just walked in, and there is another man with them. They asked Daniel where you were. Maya turned toward Harbor Light Coffee, nearly half a block behind her on the East Boston Street. Through the cold November air, the cafe windows looked like rectangles of amber light against the dark storefronts. Beyond the rooftops, another plane descended toward Logan International Airport, its low-engine hum rolling across the neighborhood. Maya tightened her clean navy coat around her barista uniform. Did Daniel call them? There was a brief silence on Jasmine's end. He says he did not. That answer made even less sense. Less than 40 minutes earlier, Daniel Mercer had told Maya to clock out and leave before her shift officially ended. He had stood behind the counter with his arms folded while a customer watched, treating Maya as though she had done something dishonest instead of helping a confused woman who could not find her hotel. Maya had not shouted. She had not slammed anything down. She had written 3 times on the back of a receipt, folded it into her coat pocket, and walked out. 8:47, 8:53, 9:06. Those were the times that mattered. At least, she hoped they did. Now 2 hotel security officers were asking for her by name. Maya, Jasmine said. Are you still there? Yes. What are you going to do? Maya looked at the digital bus display. Her bus was due in 4 minutes. She had been on her feet since early afternoon, and the warmth had finally returned to her fingers after standing outside. All she wanted was to go home, heat something for dinner, and stop replaying Daniel's accusation. Instead, she asked, is the older woman still there? Jasmine lowered her voice. Yes. Maya's attention sharpened. Is she okay? She looks okay. She is sitting near the outlet where you left her. Her phone is charged. Now, Maya closed her eyes for 1 second. That mattered more than whatever Daniel thought of her. And the security people? They are talking to her. A city bus turned onto the street in the distance, headlights washing across the wet pavement. Maya could hear the espresso machine faintly through Jasmine's phone, followed by voices she could not make out. Then Jasmine whispered, wait. What? The man with security just asked Daniel again where you went. Maya felt her stomach tighten. Did he say why? No. Daniel asked him, but he did not answer. The approaching bus slowed as it neared the stop. Maya stepped closer to the curb out of habit, then stopped. She could leave. Nothing required her to return to a workplace that had just sent her away. But the older traveler was still inside, and strangers from a hotel had arrived only minutes after Maya had spent nearly an hour trying to identify where the woman belonged. There had to be a connection. Tell them I am coming back, Maya said. Are you sure? No, Jasmine gave a nervous laugh. That is fair. Maya ended the call just as the bus pulled alongside the shelter. The doors opened with a soft mechanical hiss. Warm air spilled toward her. The driver waited. Maya looked at the empty seats, then back toward the cafe. Not this one, she told him. The doors closed, and the bus moved away. Maya started walking. Her shoes tapped steadily against the damp sidewalk while another aircraft passed overhead. When she reached Harbor Light Coffee, she could see Daniel through the front window. His posture was different now. The confidence he had shown while sending her home was gone. 2 uniformed hotel security officers stood near the counter. Beside them was a tall man in a dark overcoat, and at the small table near the wall sat the lost traveler Maya had helped. The older woman still had Maya's white phone charger in her hand. Then she saw Maya through the glass. Her face changed instantly. She rose from the chair and pointed toward the door. The man in the overcoat turned. Daniel turned with him. Suddenly, everyone inside was looking at Maya. She reached for the door handle without knowing whether she was walking back into another accusation or into the answer to everything that had happened that night. About an hour earlier, Harbor Light Coffee had felt ordinary enough for Maya to believe the night would end quietly. The cafe sat along a busy stretch of East Boston where airport workers, shuttle drivers, travelers, and neighborhood regulars passed through beneath the steady glow from Logan International Airport. At 8 that evening, Maya was wiping the espresso counter while Jasmine restocked paper cups beside her. How much longer until freedom? Jasmine asked. Maya checked the wall clock. A little over an hour. You have class tomorrow? Not yet. Maya smiled as she aligned the syrup bottles. I am still saving. Community college had been postponed once already, but Maya kept a separate savings account and transferred money into it every payday. At 21, she had learned that plans sometimes moved slower than people wanted. She had also learned not to confuse slow progress with no progress. The front door opened, carrying in a sharp draft. Maya looked up expecting another traveler ordering coffee before heading to a hotel. Instead, an older white woman stood just inside the entrance with a small rolling suitcase beside her. She wore a beige wool coat and held a dark phone in both hands, pressing the screen repeatedly. Nothing happened. Excuse me, the woman said. Is there somewhere around here I can charge this? Maya pointed toward an outlet beside a small table. Absolutely. Do you have a charger? The woman searched her handbag, then her suitcase pocket. Her movements became quicker. I thought I did. What kind of phone? Maya asked. The woman showed it to her. Give me 1 second. Maya retrieved the white charging cable she kept in her backpack and plugged it into the outlet. You can use mine. Relief softened the woman's face. Thank you. I have made a complete mess of this evening. Travel day? Apparently, a very bad one. Maya set the phone on the table. Would you like some water while it charges? Please. When Maya returned with a cup, the woman was staring through the window at passing headlights. Her suitcase remained upright beside her. Nee, are you waiting for somebody? Maya asked. I am trying to get back to my hotel. The woman gave an embarrassed little laugh. The problem is, I cannot remember what it is called. Maya thought she had misheard. You do not remember the hotel name? I have it in my email, but the phone died before I could open it. I took the wrong shuttle earlier, got off because I thought I recognized the area, and then realized I did not recognize anything. Maya glanced toward the charging phone. The screen remained black. Do you remember anything about the hotel? Near the airport, there was a blue shuttle. Jasmine, passing with a stack of cups, slowed. That describes several places around Logan. I know, the woman said, looking miserable. Maya pulled out the chair opposite her. What is your name? Eleanor Whitmore. I am Maya. We will figure it out, Miss Whitmore. Eleanor looked toward the counter. You are working. I do not want to cause trouble. You are not causing trouble. Maya returned to her register when 2 customers entered, but she kept checking the table between orders. Eleanor never asked for money, special treatment, or anything beyond a place to sit while her phone charged. 20 minutes passed. The battery finally showed enough life to turn on, but Eleanor could not remember her email password. Of course, she murmured. Tonight would be the night. Maya came around the counter again. Do you remember the hotel lobby? Eleanor thought carefully. There was a model ship, a large one behind glass. That helps. It does. More than blue shuttle. Eleanor laughed for the first time. Maya picked up the cafe phone. Let us start calling. She searched nearby airport hotels and dialed the first number. No reservation under Eleanor Whitmore. The second hotel had no record either. At the third, Maya waited through several transfers before receiving another no. Jasmine glanced at the clock. Maya, we close soon. I know. Eleanor heard her. I can leave. Outside, cold wind pushed a newspaper along the sidewalk. Maya looked at Eleanor's suitcase, then at the nearly empty cafe. No, she said. Not until we know where you are supposed to go. Across the room, a customer seated near the window lowered his coffee and began watching them. The customer near the window was Richard Cole, a regular who usually ordered black coffee and complained when anyone moved his preferred chair. That night, he had been watching Maya and Eleanor for nearly 10 minutes. Maya barely noticed. She had turned the search into a list of clues, writing them on the back of an unused receipt. Airport hotel, blue shuttle, model ship, and lobby. Anything else? She asked. Eleanor pressed 2 fingers against her temple. The carpet was dark blue. There might have been gold lines in it. Jasmine smiled from behind the counter. Now we are solving a mystery. Eleanor gave her a tired smile. I am afraid I am not a very useful witness. You remembered the ship, Maya said. That is useful. She called another hotel. Hello. I am helping a traveler who may be staying with you. Her name is Eleanor Whitmore. Maya listened, answered several questions, then thanked the employee and ended the call. Another dead end. Eleanor glanced toward the wall clock. You have already done too much. We have not found your room yet. That does not mean you have to stay late. Maya looked through the front windows. The temperature had dropped into the low 40s, and the wind coming off Boston Harbor made it feel colder. Eleanor had no working map, no confirmed destination, and no idea which shuttle she needed. "I am not sending you outside to guess," Maya said. Richard shifted in his chair. "You closing soon?" he called toward the counter. Jasmine answered, "About 15 minutes. Looks like some people get special hours." Maya heard him, but continued dialing. Eleanor lowered her voice. "Is he upset because I am here?" "You are fine. I do not want you getting in trouble for me." Maya checked Eleanor's phone. The battery had reached 11%. "Then help me remember something else. Did the shuttle have writing on it?" Eleanor closed her eyes. "White letters. Maybe harbor something." Maya stopped writing. "Harbor? I think so." Jasmine leaned closer. "There is Harbor Point Hotel near the airport." Maya searched the number and called. Immediately, after 2 rings, someone answered. "Good evening. I am calling from Harbor Light Coffee in East Boston. I have a woman here named Eleanor Whitmore who believes she may be a guest at your hotel." The employee asked Maya to hold. Eleanor sat straighter. Nearly a minute passed. Then another voice came onto the line and asked for Eleanor's middle initial. Maya covered the receiver. "Middle initial? Rose. R." Maya repeated it. There was another pause. "Yes," the employee finally said. "We are trying to verify something. May I ask where exactly you are located?" Maya gave the cafe address. The employee asked her to repeat it. Maya did. "Please keep Miss Whitmore somewhere safe while I speak with my supervisor." Maya looked at Eleanor. Of course. Before she could ask anything else, the call disconnected. "What happened?" Eleanor asked. "They found something, but they need to verify it." "Was it my reservation?" They did not say. Richard stood and carried his empty cup toward the counter. "Interesting," he said. Maya glanced at him. "Excuse me. You are keeping a stranger here after closing and calling hotels for her. She is lost." Richard looked toward Eleanor, then back at Maya. "People have rules for a reason." Jasmine stopped wiping the pastry case. "She is helping her." Richard placed his cup down, or hoping for a generous tip. Maya felt the words land harder than she expected. "She has not offered me a tip. I am just saying what it looks like." "To you," Jasmine said. Richard shrugged and walked toward the door. At that moment, Daniel Mercer emerged from the back office carrying the closing paperwork. He was 46, white, neatly dressed in a pale blue shirt beneath his dark cafe vest. Richard stopped beside him. "You might want to see what your employee is doing." Daniel's attention moved from Richard to Maya, then to Eleanor sitting beside the outlet. "What is going on?" Maya began. "She got separated from her hotel, and I am helping her find it." Richard spoke before Daniel could respond. "She is letting strangers stay after hours. Looks like she is working pretty hard for a tip." Daniel's expression tightened. He did not ask Eleanor a question. He looked directly at Maya. "Come over here." Now, behind Maya, the cafe phone suddenly began to ring. The cafe phone rang again before Maya could move toward Daniel. She looked at the receiver, remembering the hotel employee who had promised to speak with a supervisor. "I need to answer that," she said. Daniel stepped closer to the counter. "Jasmine can answer it. I asked you to come here." Jasmine picked up the phone. "Harbor Light Coffee. How can I help you?" Maya crossed the few feet between the register and Daniel while Richard remained near the entrance, apparently more interested in watching than leaving. Daniel lowered his voice. "Why is that woman still here?" "Her name is Eleanor Whitmore. She got off the wrong shuttle, her phone died, and she cannot remember which hotel she is staying at." "So you decided to keep the cafe open for her?" "We are not closed yet." Daniel checked the clock. "We close in 8 minutes." "I know. I have been calling hotels while finishing my work." Daniel glanced toward Eleanor, but still did not address her. "Employees cannot decide that customers can stay indefinitely after closing." "I did not decide that." Maya kept her voice even. "I decided not to send a lost 68-year-old woman onto the street when she does not know where she is going." Eleanor heard that. "Sir, she has only been trying to help me." Daniel lifted one hand politely. "Ma'am, I will speak with you in a moment." Maya noticed the order of things immediately. Richard's suspicion had received Daniel's attention first. Her explanation was being treated like a defense. Eleanor, the person who actually knew what Maya had done, was being asked to wait. At the phone, Jasmine covered the receiver. "Maya, it is the hotel again." Maya turned. "Did they confirm her reservation?" "They are asking to speak with Miss Whitmore." Eleanor began to rise. Daniel exhaled. "Hold on." Nobody needs to turn closing into a bigger situation. Maya stared at him. A hotel is calling back about a lost guest. And I am dealing with a policy issue. Richard gave a quiet nod as though Daniel had confirmed something important. Maya saw it and felt heat rise. Behind her face. What policy issue? Daniel looked at her. Richard says you have been giving her special treatment and keeping her here because you expect compensation. For a second, the espresso machine, refrigerator motors, and traffic outside seemed unusually clear. Maya placed both hands flat against the counter. Did Richard hear me ask her for money? That is not the point. Did he see her offer me money? Maya, I am asking because you are repeating his accusation. Daniel's jaw tightened. Watch your tone. Jasmine lowered the phone slightly. Daniel, she is not raising her voice. I am handling this, Jasmine. Eleanor stepped forward, leaving her suitcase beside the outlet. Young man, I have not offered Maya 1 cent. She gave me her charger, brought me water, and has been calling hotels because I am lost. Daniel finally looked directly at Eleanor. His expression shifted for an instant, but Richard spoke again. Nobody said she was not helping. I said it looks inappropriate. Maya turned toward him. You decided what it looked like before asking either of us. Richard opened the door. I told the manager what I saw. He can decide what to do. Cold air swept into the cafe as he left. Daniel watched the door close, then faced Maya. Finish the call, make sure she has somewhere to go, and then clock out. Maya frowned. My shift is not over. I am ending it early. For helping her? For using poor judgment and creating a situation after I have repeatedly explained that closing procedures matter. Maya felt something inside her go quiet. She could argue about the chairs already stacked on the tables, the cleaned espresso station, the balanced register, or the fact that helping Eleanor had not prevented her from completing any closing task. Instead, she looked toward the ceiling above the register. A small security camera faced the customer area. Then she looked at the cafe phone display. Jasmine, what time did that hotel call back? Jasmine checked. 8:53. Maya took an unused receipt and wrote it down. She added 8:47 beside it, the time of her first call, then 9:06, the approximate time Daniel had ordered her. Off the shift, Daniel watched her. What are you doing? Maya folded the receipt once, remembering the times. Why? She slipped it into her coat pocket. Because tomorrow, if anyone tells this story differently, the phone log and that camera will not have to remember. Jasmine stared at her. Eleanor still held Maya's white charging cable in one hand. Daniel looked up toward the camera, and for the first time that evening, certainty disappeared from his face. Maya untied her apron slowly and placed it beneath the register instead of stuffing it into her backpack the way she sometimes did after a long shift. Her hands were steady, but the humiliation sat heavily beneath her ribs. Daniel had already turned toward the closing checklist, as if the matter were settled. Jasmine can finish the register, he said. Go ahead and clock out. Maya looked at the screen. You are documenting that you sent me home early? Daniel hesitated. I will handle the shift record. Please write the reason. His eyes returned to her. Maya, do not make this harder than it needs to be. I am not. She took her employee card from beside the terminal. I just want the record to match what happened. Jasmine stopped stacking cups. Eleanor stood beside the outlet with Maya's charger still connected to her phone. Daniel, Jasmine said, I saw the whole thing. Maya was doing her job. We can discuss it tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Eleanor asked. You were willing to decide tonight. Daniel pressed his lips together. Miss Whitmore, this is an employee matter. Eleanor's expression tightened. It became my matter when you punished someone for helping me. Maya stepped toward her. It is okay. Eleanor shook her head. No, it is not. The hotel called back. That is what matters right now. Jasmine picked up the receiver again. The caller had remained on hold. Hello? I am sorry about that. She listened, then looked at Eleanor. They want to confirm your date of birth and the name on your reservation. Eleanor moved to the phone and answered the questions herself. Maya pulled on her navy coat. She could hear only Eleanor's side of the conversation. Yes, that is correct. Eleanor rose. Whitmore. Yes, I am at a coffee shop. A pause followed. Eleanor's face changed. You have been looking for me? Maya stopped near the door. Daniel stopped too. Eleanor listened for nearly a minute. I understand. Yes, I will stay here. She ended the call and held the receiver against her chest. They are sending someone. Maya smiled with visible relief. Good. Then you are safe. Eleanor crossed the room toward her. Because of you. Because we finally found the right hotel. No, Eleanor held out the white charging cable. Because you saw a confused old woman standing in the cold and treated her like a person instead of a problem. Maya accepted the charger. She did not trust herself to answer immediately. Daniel glanced at the clock, then at the security camera above the register. We still need to follow procedures, he said, quieter now. Eleanor turned toward him. Procedures did not find my hotel. Daniel had no response. Maya slipped the charger into her backpack. Jasmine, can you stay with her until they arrive? Of course. Text me when she leaves. I will. Eleanor reached for Maya's hand, then stopped as if asking permission without words. Maya offered it. Eleanor held it gently between both of hers. I hope I see you again. Get back to your hotel first, Maya said with a small smile. Then we can worry about that. She walked outside. The November wind met her immediately, carrying the distant sound of traffic and aircraft descending toward Logan. Harbor-like coffee glowed behind her, warm enough to make leaving feel stranger than it should have. At the bus shelter, Maya sat beneath the fluorescent light and unfolded the receipt. 8:47, 8:53, 9:06. 3 ordinary times that now felt like anchors. She photographed the receipt with her phone, then sent the image to herself. A second later, she opened a message to Jasmine. Please remember what you saw tonight. Jasmine replied almost immediately. I already wrote it down. Maya stared at those words until some of the pressure in her chest eased. Her battery showed 12%. The next bus was 7 minutes away. She watched headlights move across the damp pavement and wondered whether Daniel would spend tomorrow explaining why she had been wrong, or whether anyone would bother checking what actually happened. Her phone suddenly rang. Jasmine's name filled the screen. Maya answered. Is Miss Whitmore okay? Jasmine spoke so quickly that Maya stood up. Maya, do not get on that bus. Hotel security is inside the coffee shop asking for you. Maya remained beneath the bus shelter for several seconds after Jasmine ended the call. The cold wind pushed beneath her coat, but she barely noticed it now. Hotel security. 2 officers. Another man. All asking for her. Her first instinct was to search for something she might have done wrong. Had the hotel misunderstood her calls? Had Daniel told them she had interfered with a guest? Had Eleanor somehow become upset after Maya left? She hated that her mind went there first, assembling accusations before facts. Across the street, harbor-like coffee remained visible beneath its warm amber lights. Maya could have waited for the next bus. Instead, she started walking back. The receipt in her pocket brushed against her hand with every step. 8:47, 8:53, 9:06. She repeated the times silently, not because she expected a confrontation, but because she wanted something solid to hold on to. When she reached the cafe window, the scene inside stopped her. Eleanor was no longer sitting alone. 2 hotel security officers stood near her table, both wearing dark professional uniforms with embroidered hotel insignia. Beside them was a tall white man in his early 40s wearing a dark overcoat over a charcoal suit. Daniel stood behind the counter, his closing paperwork untouched. Jasmine noticed Maya first. Then Eleanor did. The older woman rose immediately and pointed toward the entrance. There she is. Everyone turned. Maya opened the door. Warm air and the smell of coffee surrounded her. The man in the overcoat crossed the room before Daniel could speak. Are you Maya Collins? Yes. I am Thomas Whitmore. Maya looked from him to Eleanor. The shared last name registered instantly. Thomas followed her glance. She is my mother. Eleanor reached them and touched her son's arm. Thomas, this is the young woman I told you about. His expression softened. Then I owe you a thank you before anything else. Maya blinked. You were looking for her? For several hours. Thomas exhaled, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. My mother was supposed to meet one of our drivers after visiting friends north of Boston. She got onto the wrong shuttle, and by the time we realized what happened, her phone was dead. Eleanor sighed. I have already apologized for that part. Several times. And I will probably do it again. One of the security officers smiled faintly. Maya felt her own shoulders loosen. The hotel employee told us someone was coming. Thomas nodded. I am the general manager. When the front desk told me a coffee shop had called asking about Eleanor Rose Whitmore, I came with our security team because we had already been trying to locate her. Maya glanced toward Daniel. He was staring at Thomas with an expression she could not read. Thomas continued. The desk employee said someone named Maya had made the original calls and kept my mother somewhere safe while they verified her information. Eleanor corrected him immediately. She did more than keep me somewhere safe. She gave me her charger, found me water, called hotel after hotel, and refused to send me outside when I had no idea where I was. Maya gave a small shake of her head. Anyone could have done that. Anyone could have, Eleanor said. You did. Silence settled for a moment. Daniel finally stepped from behind the counter. Mr. Whitmore, I am Daniel Mercer, the evening manager. I am glad your mother is safe. Thomas shook his hand. So am I. Daniel glanced at Maya. There was some confusion here earlier. Jasmine stopped wiping the counter. Eleanor's expression changed. There was no confusion about what Maya did. Daniel shifted his weight. I mean regarding store procedures. Thomas looked toward Maya rather than Daniel. Were you disciplined for helping my mother? Maya could feel Daniel watching her. She did not exaggerate. I was sent home early. Thomas's eyebrows drew together. Why? Daniel answered before she could. There was a concern about keeping an unknown person inside near closing time and whether appropriate boundaries were being followed. Eleanor stared at him. Unknown to whom? I told you my name. Jasmine placed the cleaning cloth down, and Maya was already talking to the hotel. Daniel looked uncomfortable. I had information from another customer that suggested something different. Thomas did not raise his voice. What information? Daniel hesitated. Maya reached into her pocket and unfolded the receipt. The first hotel call was at 8:47. The callback was at 8:53. Daniel sent me home around 9:06. Thomas looked at the paper, then toward the security camera above the register. Does that camera record this area? Daniel followed his gaze. Yes. And your business phone keeps call records? Yes. Thomas nodded once. Then nobody needs to argue about what happened. Maya looked up at the camera too. For the first time all night, the truth was not depending on who sounded more convincing. It was sitting quietly in timestamps, call logs, and recorded images, waiting for someone to look. Thomas did not ask Daniel to play the footage that night. Preserve it, he said calmly. That is enough for now. Daniel nodded, but Maya noticed how quickly his eyes moved toward the camera again. Thomas turned to her. I do not want my position at the hotel to become pressure on your employer. My mother is safe, and that is what matters tonight. Eleanor folded her arms. It matters because Maya made sure I was safe. I know, Mom. Thomas smiled briefly, then faced Maya. Would you be comfortable writing down what happened while it is fresh? Maya touched the folded receipt in her pocket. I already started. Good. Jasmine raised one hand slightly. I can write down what I saw too. Daniel looked at her. Jasmine, we can handle this internally tomorrow. I am not deciding anything, she replied. I am recording what I saw. Eleanor nodded approvingly. Daniel said nothing. One of the hotel security officers stepped toward Thomas and quietly confirmed that their driver was waiting outside. Eleanor picked up her suitcase, then stopped beside Maya. You missed your bus because of this, did you not? There will be another one. That is not an answer. Maya smiled. Yes. Eleanor opened her handbag. Maya immediately shook her head. Please do not. I was only going to give you my card. Eleanor produced a small personal card and handed it over. No money. I have learned my lesson. Maya laughed softly. Thank you. Thomas offered to arrange a ride home, but Maya declined after checking the transit schedule. My bus is coming in 12 minutes. I am okay. He did not insist. Then at least let me say this properly. Thank you for staying with my mother when you had no reason to know who she was. Maya glanced at Eleanor. I did not need to know. Thomas seemed to understand exactly what she meant. Eleanor hugged her son, then looked back at Maya before leaving with the security team. Do not lose that charger, Maya called. Eleanor looked down and realized the white cable was still looped around her hand. Apparently, I am stealing this. Bring it back someday. I will. The door closed behind them, leaving Maya, Jasmine, and Daniel inside the cafe. The silence felt different now. Daniel gathered the closing paperwork, squared its edges against the counter, then set it down again. Maya, I think we should talk tomorrow when everyone has had some rest. That is fine. I was responding to a customer concern and trying to enforce closing policy. Maya took her backpack from beneath the counter. I understand what you were trying to do. Daniel looked almost relieved until she continued. I do not understand why Richard's guest became more important than what Eleanor and I told you. His expression tightened again. I did listen to you. Jasmine spoke from the pastry case. After you had already decided she was wrong. Daniel turned toward her. That is not fair. Maya zipped her backpack. Maybe not. That is why the camera matters. Daniel had no quick answer. Maya clocked out, this time checking the screen herself. Her shift showed an early release at 9:06. She photographed the display. You do not trust me? Daniel asked. Maya slipped her phone into her pocket. Tonight, I learned that records are useful. When people remember the same moment differently. She walked outside and caught the next bus home. By 10:30, she was sitting at her small kitchen table with a mug of tea growing cold beside her. She wrote everything in order. Eleanor entering the cafe, the dead phone, the charger, each hotel call, Richard's comment, Daniel's questions, and the time she was sent home. Jasmine texted her a photograph of 2 handwritten pages. My statement. Saved a copy. Maya replied, thank you. A minute later, another message arrived, this one from an unfamiliar number. This is Thomas Whitmore. My mother is safely checked into her room. She asked me to tell you that she remembers the charger. Maya smiled. Then a second message appeared. Our hotel call system confirms your cafe contacted us before 9 tonight. If your employer needs verification, we can provide it through the proper channel. Maya stared at the message, then saved a screenshot. The next morning, Daniel arrived at Harbor Light Coffee before opening. He stood alone beneath the security camera with a cup of coffee he never touched. On the office computer, the previous night's footage was waiting. He moved the cursor to 8:47 and pressed play. Within seconds, Maya appeared on the screen carrying a glass of water toward Eleanor. Daniel leaned closer. For the first time, he was about to watch the entire evening without Richard's interpretation telling him what he was supposed to see. Daniel watched the footage without sound, and somehow that made the sequence harder to dismiss. At 8:47, Maya stood behind the cafe phone while Eleanor waited beside the outlet. The older woman never reached for her purse. Maya never accepted anything from her. Between calls, Maya returned to the register, wiped the counter, restocked cups, and checked Eleanor's phone battery. At 8:53, Jasmine answered the callback and motioned toward Maya. Daniel paused the video. On the screen, Maya was pointing toward Eleanor while explaining something to him. Richard stood several feet away. Daniel remembered the words Richard had used. Special treatment, stranger, tip. He remembered how quickly those words had shaped everything he saw afterward. He resumed the recording. Eleanor approached and spoke directly to him. Maya remained still beside the counter. Then Daniel saw himself turn away from Eleanor and continue addressing Maya. He paused again. His coffee sat untouched beside the keyboard. At 9:06, Maya removed her apron, wrote something on a receipt, looked toward the camera, and left. Daniel leaned back. Nothing in the footage showed an employee neglecting her work for money. It showed a young woman trying to solve a problem while completing closing duties. The business phone log confirmed outgoing calls to several airport hotels, followed by the callback from Harbor Point Hotel. By 7:30 that morning, Daniel had emailed the cafe's district manager, Laura Bennett, requesting a review of the incident and preservation of the recording. He did not describe Maya as insubordinate. He wrote that his own decision might have been based on incomplete information. At 9, Laura arrived. Jasmine came in shortly afterward carrying the handwritten statement she had already photographed. Before we start, Laura said, I want facts in order, not conclusions. Daniel nodded. Jasmine placed her pages on the desk. Maya helped Miss Whitmore from the moment she came inside. Laura read silently, then examined the call log and footage. Was Maya behind on closing tasks? No, Daniel admitted. Was money exchanged? No. Did Miss Whitmore ask to remain after closing? Daniel hesitated. We never reached closing. I sent Maya home first. Laura looked at him. What evidence did you have that Maya expected a tip? Daniel stared at the desk. A customer said that was how it looked. Did you verify it with the traveler? Not before confronting Maya. The answer seemed smaller once spoken aloud. Laura closed the folder. Then we need to speak with Maya. Maya arrived just before noon wearing jeans, a clean sweater, and the guarded expression of someone who had spent the morning wondering whether she still had a job. Laura invited her into the office. Daniel was already seated. Jasmine waited outside. Your shift is not being held against you, Laura said. Immediately, the early release will be corrected, and you will be paid for the scheduled time. Maya nodded once. Thank you. Laura continued. We reviewed the camera footage, the cafe phone records, Jasmine's statement, and the information provided by Harbor Point Hotel. They all support your account. Maya looked at Daniel. So you saw it? Yes. All of it. Daniel swallowed. All of it. Maya folded her hands in her lap. Daniel took a breath. I owe you an apology. I let Richard's assumption become my starting point. After that, I treated everything you said like something I needed to test instead of information I should have considered fairly. Maya listened without rescuing him from the discomfort. Why? She asked. Daniel looked at her for several seconds. I have been asking myself that since I watched the footage. Maya waited. I thought I was enforcing policy, he said. But I applied suspicion before I had facts. And I did not treat you the way I would want any employee treated. Laura added quietly. We are also reviewing how managers handle unusual customer situations, including stranded or vulnerable travelers. Near an airport, this will not be the last time someone walks in needing help. Maya looked through the office window toward the table beside the outlet. I do not need a special rule because I helped someone. What do you need? Laura asked. Maya turned back. For the next employee to be asked what happened before somebody decides why they did it. Daniel lowered his eyes. Laura nodded. That is where we start. Maya returned to the floor for her afternoon shift. Around 2, Jasmine slid a familiar white charging cable across the counter. Special delivery. Attached to it was a small folded note from Eleanor. Maya opened it. The message contained only one sentence. Thank you for giving me a safe place before you knew whether anyone important was looking for me. Maya read it twice, then placed the charger beside the register. Across the cafe, Daniel was moving a chair toward the outlet. He stopped and looked at Maya. Maybe we should keep this spot available. Maya studied him for a moment, then handed him the charger. Then we should probably keep one of these here too. By the end of the week, the table beside the outlet no longer looked like an ordinary corner of Harbor Light Coffee. A small charging station sat against the wall with cables for several phones, and beneath it Laura had placed a simple card telling travelers to ask an employee if they needed help contacting a hotel, shuttle service, family member, or transportation provider. There was no mention of Maya. She had asked for it that way. What mattered to her was that the next frightened person who walked through the door would not depend entirely on whether one employee was willing to risk being misunderstood. Daniel had changed too, though not in the dramatic way apologies sometimes promised. His change appeared in smaller moments. When a customer complained about a new employee taking too long at the register, Daniel asked what had actually happened before responding. When a delivery driver entered through the wrong door, Daniel explained the procedure instead of assuming carelessness. Most importantly, he stopped treating certainty as proof. One afternoon, he found Maya cleaning the espresso machine between customers. Laura scheduled the management training for Monday, he said. Maya continued wiping the metal surface. Okay, I suggested we include the footage from that night, with your permission. Maya looked at him. Why? Because I think managers should see how ordinary it looked while I was getting it wrong. Maya considered that. Do not make me the hero. Daniel nodded. I will not. And do not make Richard a monster. Daniel seemed surprised. Why not? Because then everyone watching gets to believe bias only comes from terrible people. Daniel stood quietly. Maya folded the towel. Show the decisions. Let people decide what they mean. All right, he said. That is what we will do. 2 weeks later, Eleanor returned on a bright Saturday morning. This time she arrived without a suitcase, carrying her fully charged phone and laughing before she even reached the counter. I know exactly where my hotel is today. Maya smiled. That is progress. Thomas came in behind her. He thanked Maya again, but she noticed he did not arrive with reporters, executives, or some oversized reward that would turn a human moment into a spectacle. Instead, he carried information about a community scholarship program supported by several hospitality businesses around Boston. My mother told me you are saving for college, he said. Maya looked at Eleanor. You told him? Eleanor raised both hands. I may have asked Jasmine one question. Thomas placed a brochure on the counter. There are no guarantees. It is a normal application, reviewed by an independent committee. But you qualify, and I thought you should know it exists. Maya studied the brochure. That mattered to her. No favor. No debt disguised as generosity. Just a door she could choose to knock on. Thank you, she said. I will apply. Eleanor leaned closer. And if you forget the deadline, I will find you. You found the cafe twice. I believe you. They laughed, and even Daniel smiled from the other end of the counter. Months passed. Winter settled over Boston, covering sidewalks in salt and turning every opening door into a burst of cold air. Maya kept working evening shifts while completing her college application. The cafe kept the charging station. The district adopted the revised traveler assistance procedure at its other airport area locations, and managers completed training focused on verifying facts before acting on assumptions. Daniel never asked Maya to forget what happened. That became part of his apology too. On a cold February evening, Maya received an email while standing behind the register. She had been accepted to community college for the fall semester. The scholarship decision had not arrived yet, but she did not need it to feel the ground shift beneath her feet. Jasmine read her expression immediately. Good news. Maya turned the phone around. Jasmine covered her mouth, then pulled Maya into a quick hug. Daniel approached, saw the screen, and smiled. Congratulations, Maya. Thank you. The front door opened. An elderly traveler stepped inside, looking anxiously at a dead phone in his hand. Before anyone could speak, Daniel pointed toward the table beside the outlet. You can charge it there. Take your time. Maya watched him bring the man a glass of water. Outside, aircraft lights moved silently across the dark Boston sky. Inside, the white charging cable rested beneath the warm cafe light, waiting for whoever needed it next.